All right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Sorry I'm an hour late, but it was some good stuff. Excuse me, that I was taking in. So, amen. All right. So, what are we talking about tonight? Well, we are talking. Hold on. Let me find my notes from this morning. Um, okay, Lord. I had it all separated earlier, and then this is what I get for putting notes in different places instead of just keeping them flowing. Okay, found it. All right. So this morning in prayer, what the Lord was dealing with me about was making sure that we know which doors to go in, since it's, all the buzz is, this is the year of the doors and what have you. And in prayer this morning, the Lord was saying that the year will carry a great weight of righteousness and will require more responsibility. So we have to be really mindful that the year will carry a great weight of righteousness and will require more responsibilities. What he said, what he dealt with was that we need to choose doors of wisdom and righteousness and then to walk therein. Okay, it's really, really important. And what he showed me was like back in the day, I don't remember, there's two game shows that I used to watch, and so I don't remember which one it was because this was years ago, but it was either The Price is Right or Let's Make a Deal. But one of the segments in it, they would put like 3 doors and you needed to choose a door, and depending on what door you chose, that was the prize that you won. And if you chose the wrong door, you may not win anything. If you chose the right door, it may be something spectacular. Okay, but he's saying that the name on the outside of the doors for where we're going will tell you which door to go in. So it's not like you're blindly choosing a door. He's going to let you know which doors are of him and what is not of him. And we have to make sure that what we're walking in has been sanctified by him. It's not just because it's something that we desire. We have to know the difference in what God has sanctified and what is just our flesh. And we having itching ears, or we having lustful nature, and we're walking out in our flesh and we're deciding, well, I want that door because I think there's wealth and riches on the other side of that door, but it may be heartache and pain on the other side of that door. We have to be very, very mindful. And so he said, choose the doors of wisdom and righteousness and walk therein. And then he said this, he said, righteousness is a matter of the heart. Is your heart in right standing with God? Is your heart in right standing with God? So righteousness is not it's not, being pious and like, okay, I know how I look right now. I don't have any makeup on or whatever. And I'm cool with that because of where I'm at, but that is not a sign of righteousness. That is not a sign of holiness. Is your heart in right standing with God? How are you governing your heart? Because out of the heart are the issues of life. And how you govern your heart will determine which door you walk in. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you have to know what has or has not been sanctioned by God. That will determine your acceleration in this year. That will determine how quickly you can accomplish the things that God is calling you to. Because this really is a year of acceleration in the body. It really, really is. But we've got to be mindful that we're walking in the things and in the places that God has called us to. We got to make sure that we're mindful of that. Okay? So that was the first thing this morning. He also gave Psalms 24, because Psalms 24 is talking about the gates and the doors and God's righteousness. All right. So I'm encouraging you, if you haven't read it, to read it. Psalms 24. That's really, really important. Now, on the wisdom tip for today, there was so much. Wisdom will be a fortress around you. It will protect you. I think I said yesterday that it will act as your bodyguard, but it will be even greater, not just as your bodyguard, it will be a fortress around you. And that is how God wants you to operate, is in his wisdom. And understanding is the ability to know how things work. Okay. So while you're walking in wisdom, the word says, and I believe it's Proverbs 4, which is where we were today. It says that wisdom is the principal thing, but in all you're getting, get understanding. So wisdom will be that fortress around you, but the understanding will give you the ability to know how things work. All right. So wisdom will equip you, but you need to understand. It's like, I know I have the wisdom to know that I could go and I can get in my car and I can crank it up, but I don't have the understanding to know how that engine works underneath that hood. Okay. Understanding will give you the ability to know how things work, and that can be vital in where you're going. All right. I'm a how person. I'm a huge how person. No, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I'm a why person. I'm not a how person. Okay. So how is a shortcoming for me. I'm a why person. If you can tell me why you need me to do this and it makes sense to me, then I can do it. I don't need to know why. As long as I need to know why. I don't need to know how, because how is up to God. All right. But in God's wisdom and in his love for his children, he will not only tell you why, he'll give you how. And how is vital. How is vital. How to make the whole of the pie come together. All right. How gives you the ingredients. How tells you how to bake the cake. All right. If I don't put sugar in it, or if I use the wrong flour, or if I don't put the right flavoring in it, the cake is not going to come out correct. So you need to know the how of where God is giving you. So that's really, really important. Wisdom is also the application of knowledge and understanding. Wisdom is the application of knowledge and understanding. Remember, this week we are seeking the wisdom of God. We're seeking his wisdom for what's ahead of us, for what 2024 is going to bring into our lives. It's going to be monumental, but we have to have the wisdom of God on it. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's another tidbit. Allow your obedience to God to be your superpower. Allow your obedience to God to be your superpower. Okay. Wisdom will give you the ability to do that. Wisdom will again, it will guide you. It will direct you. But even if you are wise, you can be wise beyond your years. You can be endowed with the gift and the spirit of wisdom. But if you don't walk in obedience to God, in the wisdom that he grants unto you, you will not be empowered in the way that he wants you empowered. It all has to come together. As he gives you the wisdom, you have to still take that wisdom, apply it, and walk in obedience to him. Remember last night we talked about timing, that God's timing is impeccable. So he may give you a word, but it may not be time to implement it. But when he says go, in your obedience to him, you have to go. I shared last night, I said, when he says shut up, you better shut up. Okay. Likewise, if he says speak, in obedience, speak. That's really, really important. Here's another one, and this one was really, really deep. It was a nugget that I drew out of something that Lisa Nichols was saying today. God will place you in rooms that you don't understand to promote you. Wisdom will open doors for you where you will be invited into rooms that you don't even understand why you are there. But you're there because God placed you in the room. And you have to trust him in all things. You have to trust that if he put you in the room, there's a purpose for you in the room. And you have to trust in that. You have to trust in that. So that's really, really important. Don't go. It takes you right back to the obedience. If he says, go and be and do, go, be, and do. All right. Sometimes we do that and we have to do it without questioning. Now, again, I just told you, I'm a big why person. So my first inclination is to question, well, why are we doing this? Well, why, Lord? Okay. But I've learned over the years that he does not always answer when I ask why. But if I walk in obedience, the why will become clear. You shall know as you go after the Lord, as you walk in obedience to God. I believe that's in Amos. As you go, then shall you know. But you got to go if he tells you to go, whether you understand it or not. All right. So that was really, really good too. This was good as well. Sometimes when we follow what we feel may even be the leading of God, it may not turn out the way we envision it. And sometimes in walking out in faith, we're stepping out in faith, we're believing God for something, and it may not always turn out the way we think it is. And so we call it a failure. We say that it failed because it did not progress the way we envisioned it and the way we thought it should. All right. Take the experience and the lesson of whatever happened and fail forward. Keep going. Do not allow it to stop you. Fail forward. There's a lesson in whatever it was. The experience of whatever it was will help give you the wisdom as you continue to go. So you take the lessons you get out of it and you don't allow it to stop you. The key is you allow faith to promote you forward. Don't stop. Practice your get up. Because sometimes you will fail, sometimes you will fall, but practice your get up. Get right on back up. Say, okay, Father, that didn't work the way I thought it was going to work. Maybe I didn't hear you clearly, or maybe I walked out in me. Because we can do that. We can do that even in walking in faith. We're just like, okay, well, I believe that it is. Because remember, we talked about this. Sometimes we fail to ask, Lord, is this of you? That's why it's important to walk out the things that are sanctioned by him and not just go, all right, to check and get his okay on it. So that was really good too. Let's see. This one was good too. You have to be hungry for the next version of you. You have to want so badly to become the next version of you, to become what God is producing within you, that you just keep going. Because when you're hungry, can't nothing stop you from getting fed. You're going to go get some food. All right. If you are hungry for the next version of you, you're going to keep going. You're going to just be focused. Your face is focused like flint. You are going to go forward because you're going after what God is developing in you. It's what God is developing in you. All right. And so you want to be hungry. Remember, the word tells us to hunger and thirst after him. Well, what he's developing in you is him. You're dying to self. You're dying to self. So you want to be hungry for what is God developing in me? Where does he want me to go? Where is he planting me? What rooms does he want me in? There was a friend of mine had a post, and I think the first time I saw it was last year, and then it came up in a memory recently, and it reminded me of it. And the post was like a welcome mat in front of a door, and it said, my feet will carry me into rooms. Oh, I'm sorry, my voice will carry me into rooms that my feet have not treaded into. My voice will carry me into rooms that my feet have not yet gone. Because if you're allowing God to speak through you, it will carry you to where he is getting you to get to. So you got to get your get to on. You got to be hungry for your get to. You've got to be focused on, okay, God, because I'm not my best. I will not be my best until I'm before him. So I have to continue to develop. No matter how far you've come, no matter what you've accomplished, no matter how good life may seem at this point, it is not your best, because your best is always progressive. Everything in God is progressive. And so we keep that in our mindset. And so you're going to you're going to go after the next best you. The only person that you are in competition with is you. You're not in competition with not another person on the planet. Don't envy. Don't lust after what somebody else has. Don't be, jealous because this person accomplished that. Don't even be sorrowful because you feel that you haven't accomplished all that you should have accomplished at this point in time in your life. Don't even entertain that. Just keep going after the next best you. And the next best you is continuing to develop in God. Because the more you develop in him, guess what? The more you look like him, the more you take on his characteristics, the more that you are available to him. Because the more he grows in you, the less you are. And I don't know about you, but I could really use a little less me and a whole lot more him. A whole lot more him. So it's really, really important that as we're going, I'm just going to kind of recap a couple of things. This is going to be a year of great weight. And the weight is the weight of his glory. And so with that great weight comes great responsibility. So in that responsibility that God is calling you to, then you've got to make sure that you are choosing the doors of wisdom and righteousness. So that when you walk through it with the character of God. You walk through it with the sanction of God on it. And at that point, it's not going to fail because he never fails. It can't. He can't. Because anything he says is. So we've got to make sure we are focused on carrying his weight. And again, that comes with responsibility. So that responsibility will keep you at his feet. It will keep you prostrate before him. That responsibility will keep you in his presence. We talked about when we start to pray, as we're asking God for things, we don't want to ask amiss. So what do? We first and foremost ask him what his will is. Lord, what do you want me to release in the atmosphere? I know I'm repeating this from the other night, but this is real. What would you like me to release in the atmosphere? Because that's part of the responsibility. You do not want to release the wrong thing. A couple of nights ago, it was New Year's Eve, actually, we were praying for our generations. And when we finished, I had given the mic back to my pastor, and God reminded me, some of the blessing blockers are the words that we have spoken out of our own mouths. And so I had to say, wait, there's one more thing. We had to renounce the words and the things that we had spoken against our families. We have spoken them against our children, against our spouses, against our jobs, against our businesses. We have spoken things out of our frustration. And so as we are walking through that door of wisdom, we need to have the wisdom to, Lord, I renounce every curse that I've spoken out of my own mouth. Every blessing blocker that I've spoken. Everything that has caused me to not walk in the weight of your glory. Because you can't carry the weight of glory and be speaking curses at the same time. We've got to get to that place where we allow him to speak through us and that we are responsible for what he's given us to carry. So that's what I have for you this evening. I pray that it is a blessing to you. And I'm still, other than Crystal, I know Crystal burning up the chat here, but I'm still waiting for you guys to share what God is speaking to you. Please do, because it'll bless us. This is not a one-woman show. Okay, it will bless us to hear what God is releasing through you. All right? You guys have an incredibly blessed night. All right? I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.